Hey mobsters, it's Tracy Kaywood with the Property Mob, the makers of Badass Investors, and hopefully this Bandit Sign scandal that I keep updating you on is going to make you a better person and more keen on how to keep your ass out of trouble with bandit signs. Because sometimes you take the rap and it's not even your signs. Like me. So I urge you to read everything that I have on the website about bandit sign tips and, make sure that you are following some guidelines to keep you out of trouble, or you're not doing them at all. I haven't done them in quite a while because of this bandit sign scandal. So here's an update. I went to court on September the 13th, 2013 to dispute the 10 counts of bandit signs being on telephone poles, in which they're trying to fine me $355 a piece for. They're not my signs. If you want to go back and review the bandit sign scandal on the website, you will clearly see the whole story about these signs that someone duplicated to look like my handwriting, same sign color, same ink, same handwriting, but if you examine them very closely, the handwriting is not exactly the same. It's very close, but it's not my handwriting. Someone tried to duplicate them because they work. And also for the reason that, what's happening right now, playing out before everyone's eyes, is that I'm taking the rap for these signs that aren't mine. So hopefully, Keith Rain, you asshole, you made a lot of money off of your signs being on telephone poles, which, by the way, someone told me they saw, just the other day, a sign on a telephone pole with that number on it. So anyway, just a little recap. Keith Rain, who lives in Jacksonville, I see him in Jacksonville Beach all the time, right where I live, driving the white truck with the phone number and WeBuyHousesJax.com on it. Those are his signs. And someone told me, a fellow investor, told me those were his signs and that, he confided to him and said he's the one who put them out. I had no proof of that in court. So anyway, I'm at court. Everybody before me was in violation of the code enforcement because their dog had bitten someone. So I had maybe 10 cases that go before me. They saved me for last because I had, a long rap sheet or whatever. Had 10 counts that they had to review. So I approached the stand, and the judge says, "Are you prepared for trial?" Well, he asked me what was my plea first. I'm like, "Not guilty." So he asked me if I was prepared for trial. So I'm like, "Yeah, I am." Well, little did I know that he meant like a full-on trial, like calling witnesses and objections and sustain and, the whole bit. I was not ready for that. Or I'd have read up on it a little bit, so I would have, known how to react to some of this stuff going on. So first is the prosecution, the state against me. They called 4 code enforcement officers who all testified that these are my signs. They've done their research. They've confirmed it was me. They have, researched my corporations, and, they started bringing up things that were totally irrelevant, like Property Mob, because they found my name and my signs, and I show you how I write my signs. And they had a lot of stuff to make it look like these signs were mine. But they're not. They're not mine. That is not my phone number. So, I could really go over the whole entire case, the trial with you. And, my mouth was on the floor almost, where I'm like, oh my God, that is not even, relevant. Like, Kaywood Realty, my brokerage company, then why did they even bring that up? Well, the signs are kind of linked to that. There's just so much, they didn't understand the different entities that I have. They thought I was hiding behind these different corporations. It was nuts. It was freaking nuts, y'all. Nuts. All I can say is that I did look guilty. I looked guilty. The signs are yellow, the writing is black, the handwriting is very close. I'm guilty of putting signs out. I post it all over the internet. I try to teach people how to, cover their ass when they're putting out bandit signs. I tell you some techniques to get away from it, like using Google Voice numbers. So, in the eyes of someone else, I look guilty. I mean, I admit it. But I'm not. I mean, I know now how criminals feel when they get wrongly accused and even convicted and they end up in prison when they didn't do it. I mean, those are not my signs. And there was nothing I had to prove. The only thing I had was a Facebook post that I made in January, wherein the first time I ever saw these signs, and I thought they were mine, and I'm like, I don't put signs there, and I looked, I'm like, that's not my number. And I called him, and Keith answered at that time. This was before he had an answering service taking his calls. And I gave him some shit right on the phone, like, why are you copying me? You know, and I was laughing about it. I never thought it would end like this. So, you know, it went on for 2 hours. 2 hours we were there. You know, he was questioning me and questioning the code enforcement officers, and there was even a neighborhood watch guy from Riverside. I don't even go to the Riverside, who, you know, he swears up and down. He knows it's me. A very distinctive looking sign, a brand almost. So, you know, this went on for 2 hours. I have nothing to help my case, no proof except this Facebook post, and they totally dismissed it. I mean, it's like they didn't even acknowledge that I had it. You know, it's the only thing I had. When had I known that it was going to be a bona fide trial like this, like calling witnesses, you know, I would have asked my fellow investor guy to join me in court and at least testify on my behalf and, you know, tell him, Keith told you he put those signs up. I didn't know that. I mean, really didn't know. I thought it was going to be a quick 5-minute, you know, ordeal, but I was wrong. So at the end of 2 hours, oh, by the way, they even called the 729-1101 phone number in court over the speakerphone, the judge did, and asked for me. And the receptionist, who's using a script, says, I'm sorry, she's not in the office right now. Can I, you know, take a message for her? And he tries to get, you know, more information, like, well, do you speak to her personally? She's like, no, everything is relayed by email. Like, can I have her email address? She's like, I'm sorry, we don't know that. So he hung up, you know, and they're looking at me like, they know who you are. So I'm like, no, call them back and ask for any name you want to. Make up any name. And they're going to tell you they're going to go through the same exact script. So he did. He asked for Susan Anthony, and the same thing happened. I don't know, you know, how that looked, you know, what they think about that, but, you know, it's an answering service. That's what investors do. They hire answering services to take the calls. It's bad. I mean, I know how people feel who get accused of something they didn't do now, because these are not my signs. I'm going to take the rap for it. I looked guilty, although I'm not. Those are not my signs. I mean, if you look, no matter where you look online, that phone number, you're not going to find it. I mean, I'm pretty open about my Bandit sign, and, you know, it's part of the reason why I don't put them out anymore is because I'm, you know, too open about it. I was, you know, trying to help investors and teach them how to stay out of trouble, and, you know, it ended up, you know, 468-7355 gets tracked back to me because I have YouTube videos and it's on my website. Okay, that's fine. I quit doing signs, but for this reason. But the 729-1101, they're not my signs. So after 2 hours, what it came down to was the judge is going to mail me whatever order he comes up with. You know, it was nothing finalized in court. I walked off still not knowing what was going to happen. Am I going to have to pay these fines for this guy? You know, I'm going to have to pay Keith Rain's fines for putting these signs on telephone poles? I don't know. So within a couple of days, I will know. I'll have something in the mail from the judge. Of course, I'm going to share it with you and let you know what they're going to do. But in the meantime, that's your update for the Bandit Sign scandal. If you're doing Bandit Signs, don't put that phone number anywhere online, because that's what Keith Rain did. He's covered his ass quite well on these signs. That phone number, you can't trace it back to anybody. Don't advertise your Bandit Sign phone number on the internet. And the code enforcement guys, They'll dig and dig and dig and dig and try to find out who you are. At least they will in Jacksonville. So I know they're probably going to watch my video because they love watching my stuff and they're so entertained by me. So I just wanted to say, you guys suck because you got it wrong. Those signs that I'm in court for and taking the rap for, those aren't mine. So I hope you guys are satisfied with the outcome. It's just a money making, it's just a money grab. The city of Jacksonville is doing a money grab on Tracy K. Wood with Keith Rain signs. They have nobody else to stick it on. No evidence. They can't prove they're mine, and they're not mine. And I have something that I stated 9 months ago that, hey, these aren't mine. This is BS. I don't know. So I'll keep you updated on what happens. And thanks for following the Bandit Sign scandal. I'm sure this has educated a whole bunch of investors around the country on what to do and what not to do when you're putting out your bandit signs. I'll be glad when it's over, when this case is closed and I can, move on, because it's been a pain in my buttocks. So, see you guys later. We'll keep on rocking the same way as we always do. PropertyMob.com, making the badass investors. See you guys later.